Okay, what I'm going to try to do here is walk through an install and actually test it. This is liable to blow up in my face. I'm getting ready to install this on the system on a subdomain. I've never done that before, so this would be a good test to see whether this stuff runs on a regular domain or a subdomain on a hosted site correctly. So let's go. I've already uploaded my installer zip, which is just the entire thing bundled up as files in a archive, right? And I've logged into my cPanel. I'm going to have to create, if you go, different cPanels and different backends look differently, and there are other types of web hosting applications other than cPanel, but cPanel is the most common one, and it's the one that is on this particular domain. So the first thing you have to do is set up a database for your install. So I'm going to go to MySQL databases, and notice it's got this preface, so I need to remember this because that's going to have to do with the actual database name that I name it. I'm going to call this Yii2CMS 1, right? And I create a database. So it's added the database. It's an empty database, no tables or anything in it. And now I need to actually add a user. So I've already got a bunch of users, and normally what you can do is create a user and then add the permissions to him and all that. But I am going to add, let me see here. I'm going to add, what user do I have on my current guy? Okay, I have this guy right here. So I'm going to add, well, I'm going to add a new one. I'm going to Yii2admin. Or I'll just say CMS admin. How's that? Because it's not letting me put more characters than that in. Well, okay, it's going to be ADM. It's only letting me do this certain number of characters on the user. And I'm going to give it a password. Let me make it a little bit stronger than that. Have to remember that password. And it's going to create this user with that password. And then I'm going to add that user to the database. So create the user. No, we're not going to save that. Right? And I'm going to add new user to the database. I'm going to say add user to database. User is this guy, and he's going to be added to this new database that I've just created. I'm going to say add, and since this database user needs to do everything, I'm going to give him all privileges. Make the changes. Okay, so now I have that set up. So now the next thing I'm going to do is go back to home. I'm going to go to the file manager. And hopefully this shouldn't take too long. It's taking a long time for some reason. The server's running kind of slow today, so just bear with me. Oh, this is not good. This normally just pops right up. I don't know what's going on here. So I'm going to close that and go back here and go to File Manager again. Okay, there it is this time. Came right up. Now here's my subdomain folder. I'm going to go down into it, and there's actually the root folder for that. And so this is actually going to be the home directory for the subdomain that I'm creating the site in. I'm going to click this, and I'm going to say extract. And I'm just going to extract it all to here, extract files. Okay. And here we are. It's extracted all of the files for the system, and it's put them in their correct folders and all that, so the application is installed. Now I need to edit the setup file so it knows how to get to the database, at least that. Some other things in here I can wait to change, like the email addresses and so on, but you know, it has to have the database name, username, and database. So we're going to go down in here, and in the common folder, under config, there is this file which is called main local PHP, and we're going to say we want to edit this file. Yeah, go ahead and edit the guy. You can, of course, do all this on your localhost test server and then copy it out there. But I'm doing this actually, you know, out here on the deal just so you can see what's happening here. So we're going to change this to Paul Demp underscore Yii2CMS, I think is what I called that. Let me go back and check. See if I can't get to it here. I can get to it there, just to make sure. The database I have is, where did it go in the list? Yeah, Yii2, that's the database name. Right, I'll put that in there. Has to be exact. And then I created that user, which was, just to make sure I got it correct here, Paul Demp CMS admin. Change that right there. And I'll change this later just to make sure that, you know, I'll go back and change the password and recreate all this later to make sure that this video doesn't tell people how to get into my database, but because this is going to be humanly readable, right? Change the password, and the rest of this stuff I'm not going to mess with because I'm not going to be sending any email with the system. So we're going to say save changes, close. Okay, now there's another file. There's this parameters. Oops. What we want to do is parameters we want to edit. Okay, and here there's some things you can change. If you want to be able to activate accounts by email, you can set this to true. If you want to have them log on using an email password combination, you can set that. You can set it if you want to enforce strength and, you know, strong passwords. You can set that to true. You can set the password token time and milliseconds to expire. And here you would change your, you know, this is the contact form email initially, and of course it gets changed in the back end once you get into the back end and can set it up. And support email. I'm not sure that these are actually necessary. There may be something in the actual default Yii advanced setup that uses these. I'd go ahead and set them, but I don't think they're necessary because I'm actually overriding that stuff inside of the application itself. So we will, actually, are we going to change these? No, we're not going to change anything, but normally this is where you'd set those. So we'll say close. All right, now the next thing you have to do, I think that should be it. If I go, if I'm lucky and I go to this website, nothing's going to blow up here. I can go Yii2CMS.pauldempsey.com, and it should just start right up. Okay, there's something wrong. Oh, I know what's going on. There's a fresh. There's this htaccess file. It's got some commands in it that I use on my local host that are okay. I'll actually change this and make sure this is not in the deal, but it's these. This is the problem because I'm not allowed to do these kind of rewrite values with PHP values on the server. I've got it set to not allow this. So we'll just save that. Come on, close. Something's taking too long. And now, if I'm lucky, when I go to the website, I should just be able to hit return. Oh, I didn't import the data. Okay, see? Okay, so what I need to do is then go up here, go home, and cPanel. I need to actually import the data into the database. So I will go into phpMyAdmin. It's redirecting around. I don't know what's running so slow out here today. It's probably because I'm running this thing inside Captiva, which is building this demo, and it's probably giving my machine memory fits. Okay, here we are. So here's this database, right? I should just be able to go to import, say browse, and then browse, whoops, come on, browse my file system, and go where I know you would have downloaded this from your okay, what's going on here? It's like something else is, oh, you know, this is Captiva is really messing with the mouse actions and my. Okay, and here's the compressed database archive. So we'll just say open, and I should be able to just use the default formats and the default things on the screen. Say go. Okay, and then bingo, it looks like it's going to run. First time it runs, very first time it runs, it has to build a cache, so it takes a second because it caches the whole site. And that didn't actually take that long, considering what it's going through, and the fact that I'm also running this thing inside a screen capture application, which is slowing my entire computer down. What happens if I just hit refresh here? Yeah, there we go. So, and the site is installed. I've got a default password that I don't want to publish that in a public deal, you know. But if I got to figure out a way, it probably will put it on the GitHub, the default login password for the back end. Because to get to the back end, all you'd have to do here is go back end. And the login starts out as admin, and then I've got a password that I've put in here that is stupidly weak. But it will let you in the first time, and then once you're into the application, you can, of course, go to your profile and change the password from the stupid one that's going to be out there in public that everyone can find. I mean, what I'd really like to do here is build an installer that sets that password. I haven't gotten there, and I'm hoping that maybe somebody else will pick this up and help me with that, but we'll see. Okay, don't save. So I'm going to actually log out of this and turn this off, and then go in there and change that password so that it's not, you know, out there in the public. And that's all there is to it. It's really pretty simple. Basically, you create a database, create a user, assign the user to the database, import the data, which is the step I forgot, import the data into the database, extract the files on the system, change the two lines that you have to change in the config file, and then the other lines you should go ahead and change as well, because they have to do with root level email stuff. Like, for instance, what POP server and password the system uses to send email. And that's it. You know, I mean, I was spending more time here explaining how to do this than it would take to do it. Literally, it's about a 3 or 4 minute install. The time to actually FTP the file up there is maybe 3 or 4 minutes. I think what is the size of that file? And this is the one, I'm going to have 2 of these. One of these is going to be empty. Yeah, it's 300 megabytes, but that's got all this demo data in it and image 100. You know, it's got probably 100 images in it and other stuff. The database itself is how big? Yeah, it's only 20 kilobyte. You know, if you actually look at the table structure for this thing, you know, if you look at a WordPress website, it's got hundreds of tables, literally, and subtables, and you know, the relationships in the thing are just stupid, stupidly complicated, unnecessarily complicated. And of course, what I've done here, one of the things that I think I've and I had some help with this from a person who really knows databases a lot better than I do, is that I've kept the thing pretty flat. It's not, I mean, it's got some relationships going on, you know, and some views and whatnot. But you know, this is it. This is all the tables there are. I don't know how many is it, 20 tables or so? Yeah, 28 tables. That's it. And that includes all of the cross permission stuff and the, you know, the backup tables, the tables that allow you to revert data back in case you screw something up, all that. You know, so again, the system is pretty lean. I think a total install on the thing, totally clean, might be 20 megabytes, 30 megabytes. Anyway, that's it. That's the installer for the Yii2CMS.